Everybody, my name is Jennifer Maker, and today I want to talk about heat transfer vinyl, also known as iron-on vinyl. Um, I want to talk about how to identify it from a group of other vinyls that you might have or have been given, and then also how to figure out how to cut on the right side because that's so important and your project won't turn out if you can't figure out the right side to cut it on. And it can be a little confusing if you don't do it a lot or you're brand new to it. So I am excited to do this and talk to you about this with you today. So heat transfer vinyl is amazing for making things like t-shirts and tote bags and all sorts of awesome things like that. But if you're not doing it all the time or you're brand new to Cricut, it's a little bit like overwhelming to figure it out. I remember the first time that I tried making something like I just wasn't quite sure which side to put it on my mat, and it was a lot of guesswork and then looking things up on my computer, and that was frustrating in the beginning. So I want to set all of that straight for you because being able to identify your iron-on vinyl from your other vinyls is a huge deal. And then of course we want it to cut out right the first time. We don't want to waste a bunch of vinyl or get frustrated and just give up, right? So what I'm going to do today is actually show you some various vinyls. I've got some vinyls out from my stash, in fact, and I'm just going to show you a bunch of them. We're going to go over which ones are iron-on and which ones are adhesive and how you can tell the difference. And then we're going to talk about the right side and the wrong side to cut on and how you can figure that out. So I'm going to take you on over to my craft table that I've got set up over here with my vinyl. I'm going to show you. So I've got my vinyls right over here, and I'm going to show you how this works. All right, so here are my 5 vinyls that I have brought up from my stash. Now, if you happen to still have your vinyl in your packaging, you've got a label on it, and that makes it so easy. But if you don't, like these other 4, it can be confusing. So we're going to talk about that and how to identify iron-on vinyl from adhesive vinyl. This one we know for sure is iron-on vinyl, right? So we've got Cricut Everyday Iron-on Vinyl. And so we know we can trust this. And by the way, if you don't want to retape your labels to your vinyl, what I like to do is when I pull them off, because I tend to kind of forget, I like to put them right into the tube. Then when I can't figure it out, I don't have to guess it. It's right there. It makes it really easy. So that's something that it's a good tip for you. So here we have Cricut Everyday Iron-on Vinyl. Now, so the front of the vinyl is what's on the roll, just like this. And if we look inside and look at the back, because the key is to identify vinyl is to look at the back of it. We look at the back of it, we see a matte finish. So we've got glossy on the front and matte underneath, all right? And we know that this is iron-on vinyl. Now let's compare this to one of my other vinyls. So here is another one that I pulled out from just, wherever, no label. And if we look at this, well, we see it's not shiny, which is a clue. And also the inside, I'm going to take off this painter's tape. I like to use painter's tape because it doesn't leave a residue. So we see that it has a grid on the inside, and this one says Cricut removable. It might also say, permanent or something like that. This one says premium vinyl. We know that this is adhesive vinyl, right? It's got this grid on the back. This is the clue. So these two look really quite different from one another, right? The backs, very different from one another. And even though the front might be more or less similar, even though one's glossy and one's matte, this is how we tell the difference when we have a group of vinyls and we're just not sure. And as it turns out, the rest of these are all iron-on vinyl as well. And we can tell that even though this is white, there's no grid, right? And I'm going to get into that more so that you can understand that. This one is matte. There's no grid on the back. And this one here is also, there's no grid. It's just the back side of the vinyl. So now let's actually look at a piece of iron-on vinyl itself. So this here is a piece of iron-on vinyl. In fact, it's the Cricut Everyday Iron-on that I just showed you. And we need to figure out which side to cut on. Okay, so we know that this is an iron-on vinyl, which is awesome, but what side do we cut it on? it's like not obvious if you never used vinyl before. I mean, you might look at it, especially if you're used to working with adhesive vinyls and think, oh, I'm going to cut on the pretty side, which is the glossy side. So that is not the right side. So the general rule is to cut on the non-glossy, non-shiny side, or in other words, to put the shiniest, glossiest side down on your mat for cutting. Okay, so in this case, we have a nice glossy side like this, right? And the other side is matte, right? So in this case, it's very easy to tell. This is the carrier sheet. So it's a clear piece of plastic that doesn't get cut. And it's what you're going to use to transfer your iron-on design to your project. And this is the actual vinyl itself that you're going to melt into your project. And this is the backside of that vinyl, right? So because this is the clear carrier sheet, we can see right through it and we can see the pretty vinyl itself. So this is the side you want to cut, and you always put the shiny side down on your cutting mat. Okay? So this is the easiest one to figure out. But what happens if both sides are shiny? Okay, and this question actually came up recently in our Facebook group, which is what inspired me to create this video for you, as well as the blog post that I have linked in the description. So here we have a piece of Cricut Sportflex iron-on vinyl in seafoam, which is a really pretty color. So it's nice and shiny here on the front of the vinyl. When we flip it over, look at that, it's still shiny, right? And if you had found this piece of vinyl in your stash or something, or someone gave it to you, it might be really confusing, because the general advice of, putting the shiny side down, well, which side do you put down here, right? So again, we have to remember that the carrier side is just a clear piece of plastic. And so that means our color is going to show through that. So this is the front, this is the carrier side. So we can see, the finished vinyl when we're all done is this color here. This white on the other side, this is the back side of our iron-on vinyl. And so in this case, we can tell the difference. When they're both shining like this, we can tell the difference because the carrier sheet side has our pretty color and the other side doesn't have the color, right? So this is the side, we're going to put it down on our cutting mat just like this. So it's still shiny side down, but there's still a shiny side up, and that can be confusing. Just remember the white side is the side that you want to cut. All right. Now, what happens when you have a vinyl that is shiny and white on both sides? That's like a trick, right? It's like, what the heck? If someone just gave you this, or you found it in your stash or your scrap pile, you'd be like, what is going on here? So this is Cricut Sportflex iron-on vinyl in white. And you can see that it's shiny on both sides. It is both sides. So there's two different ways that we can tell which side is the carrier side and which side is the vinyl side. So the first way is to look at the curl. So these are curling in like this. So you can see, because they were on the roll like this. And the roll is always, you always have the carrier side outward on your roll. So here is my roll right here. This is the roll. So it's on here like this. So this is where it curves like this, that is the carrier side, and this is the vinyl side. So if we turn these over like this, so here is the carrier side, and this with it curling up, so you can see that, right? I want to make sure you can see that, right? So, and then this is the vinyl side. So that's the first way that you can tell. The second way that you can tell is there truly is a difference in the shininess. It's a little bit hard to tell in this very bright light that I've got shining on my mat, but if you look closely in regular light, there is the carrier side of this is actually a bit shinier than the vinyl side of this white Cricut Sportflex. This is one of the few that I know that are like this. And if this happens, I recommend you just keep that label on, and then you don't have to worry about it, right? You'll keep it on your roll, you'll always know. But I know that we all like to keep our scraps, so this is how you can tell. Now, what if you're totally stuck, just completely stuck? You really have no idea. you can't tell what's shiny and what's not. You can't tell what the curl is because there's no curl left. All right, so here is a piece of Cricut Everyday Iron-On in pink. Now this one is actually easy to tell. We've got shiny on one side and matte on the other side. So this is our vinyl side and this is our carrier side. So we want to cut this shiny side down on the matte side like this, okay? But what if you just can't tell? What if you're not good at recognizing shiny versus matte? What if you have an unusual piece of vinyl and it's just really strange? So there's one foolproof way of figuring this out, and that's to actually cut a little nick out of the corner of it. So what you do is you take your best guess at what you think is the vinyl side. So I think that this matte side is my vinyl side, and you take your craft knife and you want to cut just a little bit off the corner. You don't want to cut all the way through to your mat. You want to cut just the vinyl and leave the carrier sheet, the plastic that's on the other side. So you just want a light cut, in other words. I'm going to do just a light cut like this. And if we did it right, we'll be able to remove this piece. So we can see that I've actually cut it, but I haven't cut all the way through, right? And I can tell already that I have identified the vinyl, but to be absolutely sure, we should be able to peel away the vinyl. So let's see if I can do it. So sure enough, I can peel away the vinyl right here. You see that coming apart, right? So now we know that this is the vinyl side and this is the carrier side. So carrier side, shiny side down, vinyl side up. And that's it. That is how you can always know what side to cut your iron-on or heat transfer vinyl on. And I think that's it. If anyone has any questions, you can just ask here and I would be happy to answer them. Leave a comment below the video or make sure that you just post a general question in my Facebook group at jennifermaker.com/cricketcrafters. So I hope that that was helpful in helping you to really see what heat transfer iron-on vinyl looks like, because once you know what to look for, you're not going to have any issues identifying it again. It's really once you really dig into it. And I have a lot of vinyls. In fact, I have every single kind of Cricut vinyl that there is, and I am going to be in fact I did this whole video because I'm going to do a whole tutorial on how to create an iron-on t-shirt, and we're going to be looking at every kind of Cricut vinyl. So all of these simple things like everyday vinyl and the Sport Flex, but we're also going to look at holographic vinyls and glitter vinyls and the new mesh vinyls that they have and everything, so that you can see how to apply it, how it works, and how it looks. Because I think that if we do that, you'll get a better idea of what will work best for your projects and what you would like to work with, so that you don't have less experimentation and more just getting it done. That's always my goal. I always say I make mistakes so you can't, because I make lots of mistakes. So I hope that this was helpful. Watch for my tutorial to come out hopefully tomorrow, probably tomorrow evening. And if you have any questions, please definitely ask me. I'm always happy to help. Remember, if you can tell me what you want to make, I can show you how to make it. Until next time.